that's not our segment. It's Prophecy Pearls, but we're going to get back into our study in Proverbs. We are in chapter 4. Troy, I got some feedback here. We're going to start at Proverbs chapter 4. Are you ready? Glory to the King. Let me check in with the chat room while you're finding your spot. Hi, guys. Everybody doing okay? Glory to the King. I don't see any questions. If you have questions, please feel free to come to the show's website and log into the chat room. You can come in anonymously. You can make up a name. You can use your own. We like it when we can call you your name, your first name. But if you have questions, feel free to come and ask them, and I'll be glad to answer them as I see them. Okay? And there are several in the chat room who can text me if I don't see it. Okay? So I'll be glad to answer your questions. Let's get into Proverbs chapter 4. We're starting at verse 20. Glory to the King. All right. My son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear unto my sayings. Now, you know what that means, don't you? He's saying, listen, apply it to your life. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Study every day. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. Purpose that you're going to follow him every day of your life. Study every day. Pray every day. Make the time. For they are life unto those that find them. Now, isn't that worth your pursuit? And health to all their flesh. You want to be healthy? Study the Word of God. There's no way I should be healthy. And I'm actually pretty healthy, you know. I mean, there's no way I should be healthy. But I am. I'm in pretty good shape, really. Then verse 23, keep thy heart with all diligence. Don't allow anger or despair or any of these bad fruits to creep into your mind or into your heart. Keep thy heart with all diligence. Make sure it's focused on Jesus. For out of it are the issues of life. If you are counting on him in your everyday life, he's going to make sure your path goes exactly like he wants it to go and what's best for you. Okay? Remember Romans 8:28? All things work together for good for them who love God, for those who are called according to his purpose. Okay? In verse 24, put away from thee a froward mouth. Now, do you remember what froward is? For those of you who may not have been here to see that, I will look it up again for you. And you can see it's not forward, it's froward. Okay? That means contrary, hard to get along with. It says difficult to deal with, contrary. Now, let's elaborate a little bit here. Do we have any examples? Well, I think that tells it. You know, it says froward can mean distortion, crookedness, to go wrong, go crooked, backsliding, twisted, distorted. Okay? So we don't even need that, do we? Put away from thee a froward mouth, to where you want to argue with everything, where you want to debate the word. You know, it's against the scriptures to do that. We can reason together, but we don't debate. Okay? And that's an abuse of the word. And then it says, perverse lips put far from thee. Let's look that one up again too. It says, perverse is of a person or their actions, showing a deliberate and obstinate desire. That's stubborn, obstinate. Showing a deliberate and obstinate desire to behave in a way that is unreasonable or unacceptable, often in spite of the consequences. Now, that's not a good thing, is it? So we don't want to be perverse. We don't want to be deliberate, deliberately stubborn to behave in a way that's unreasonable or unacceptable. But I bet you know a lot of people like that. And there are many, many, many out there. So perverse lips saying things that are unreasonable or unacceptable, according to the word, is something we want to avoid. In verse 25, let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyeballs look straight before thee. So he's saying, you see what's in front of you, but make sure your eyes are focused to look straight ahead, not behind you. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy way. There's more to that. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. So you're looking at what's in front of you, immediately in front of you, but you're also looking past the bad things that are coming in front of us to the good things that are coming after that. Ponder the path of thy feet. That means consider it. Think about it. And let all thy ways be established. So if you sit and think about your ways before you walk in them, God can direct you. Okay? It's when you just jump right out there without knowing what you're doing that you get hung up in a snare. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Now that could be political too, couldn't it? The far right is ridiculous, but the far left is ridiculous. Okay? Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Remove thy foot from evil. Let's go into chapter 5. Does anybody have any questions? Let me check the chat room here. If you have questions as we go through this, go ahead and post them, and I'll check at the end of every chapter. Hi, Tyler. You doing okay? Hi, Brian. Good to see you. Love you guys. Please pray for your soda addiction, Tyler. You can add me to that prayer. I'm into Dr. Pepper. I like Dr. Pepper, and I like Mountain Dew, too. Ooh, Brian, you're making me hungry. He says, juicy, greasy bacon cheeseburger. Oh, that sounds wonderful to me. I haven't ate yet today. I'm hungry. Here it is, 8:40 p.m., and I haven't got around to eating yet today. I get busy. What can I say? Okay. Let's go on into chapter 5, verse 1. Verse 1. My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding. He's saying, if you're smart, you're going to listen. That thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. When you start flapping those lippies, you do not want stupid things to come out. Okay? Think about what you say before you say it, is what he's saying. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. If you think about what God's word requires and you're considering that as you follow your path, then you're going to be okay. As long as you have a heart that truly wants to serve him. When we struggle with sins, it's not really a struggle like you think. What it is your mind playing tricks on you, saying, oh, but I want to do this. This is what I want to do. But then over here, it's wrong, but you want to do it. And so what you do is you try to justify to get what you want. And you can't do that without it being sin. Okay? In verse 3, for the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb. Now, men, have you ever met a woman who just will flatter you and tell you everything you want to hear? Because she wants something. Okay? Don't listen to her. She's going to flatter you so she can rob you or get, whatever her intentions are. And her mouth is smoother than oil. She's going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. And try to lure you away from your wife and your family. But you're going to have to be smart, right? You're going to be smart and you're not going to listen to her. That is a trap, a snare. When you hear those sweet words coming out of her mouth, picture in your mind a big old bear trap that goes whack and just takes your leg right off. Okay? She's actually a worse trap than the bear trap is. She'll tell you what she wants, what you want to hear, because she wants something from you. Be careful. Choose someone, believers, who is also a believer. And that's difficult, because if you don't, your whole life is going to be difficult. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. She'll take you down every single time and use your ego to do it. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. And ladies, this is the same thing in reverse as well. There are men like that too. They tell you exactly what you want to hear because they want something from you. And one thing that's a big problem in our country, in America, is that through the internet, people from many, many different countries will contact you and flatter you and come on to you and pursue a relationship with you because they want to come into the country and they need a green card. They need you to get them into the country. So when somebody from somewhere else attempts to form a relationship with you, you put a big red stop sign in the path and say, no, thank you. Because their motives are not because, think about it. Can they not get a girlfriend in their whole entire country they're at? Okay. Men on the internet, when they pursue you from a long distance, they want something. And it's not good for you. In verse 6, lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Those who are predators like that, whether they be male or female, they're totally unpredictable. You can't know them because they constantly lie to you. Their story constantly changes. So you don't know when they're telling you the truth and when they're not because they lie so much. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. If you're smart, you're going to listen to the king, and you're going to have a much happier life as well. Remove thy way far from her, and come not near the door of her house. Don't even think about it. Lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Because all she has to do is say, oh, I'm pregnant now. And you are in deep, deep trouble. Especially if you're married or if you have a girlfriend that you want to be married to at some point. They will trap you. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth. See, it's a scam. They want to take whatever they can from you because they don't want to go get a job themselves and work for a living. They want to prey on those who are easy to prey upon. And you don't want to be someone who's easy to prey upon. Now it says, lest strangers be filled with thy wealth and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. They'll come and steal you blind. Take everything from you. Okay? And verse 11, and thou mourn at the last when thy flesh and thy body are consumed. So when you're toward the end of your life, you're going to be very, very sad and mourning because she's not only broken your heart, but she's taken all your money. And say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof. That is the famous last words and thoughts of all those who ignore God and get to the end of their lives, and they're looking back on their lives thinking, how did I mess it up this much? Because I didn't listen to God, I didn't listen to instruction, and I had a bad attitude about being corrected. Let the Lord correct you and line up when he does. And have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. Don't get to the end of your life wishing you had listened to those who attempted to teach you and those that tried to show you the right way and teach you the word. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Well, there's a mouthful right there, isn't it? Now that's a unfortunately, he says, I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. There's more fake believers out there than there are real ones. Okay? Drink waters out of thine own cistern and running waters out of thine own well. He's saying, don't take what doesn't belong to you. Drink from your own well and your own cistern. And he's not just talking about water. He's talking about everything. Use your own stuff. Be happy with what you've got. And don't go sneaking over to your neighbor's house to raid their garden or take water from their well or anything like that without permission. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad. So when you're following Christ and he teaches you and you share what you learn, it's like a fountain for the Spirit to be able to do his thing. And it says, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad. We want to take the knowledge that we have gained from the word and from the king and send it out everywhere. Everywhere. And rivers of waters in the streets. Now, what that's talking about is these same fountains. Okay, you want to not just send it around the world, you want to tell your neighbors that live next door to you too. In verse 17, let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. So keep to yourself, and don't leave your things out as a temptation for people to take them. Let thine fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Don't cheat on your wife or your husband. Don't do that. Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth that you chose. Okay? Maybe you don't like her nowadays, but you chose her, so figure out how to make it work. Remember why you chose her in the first place. And pray and ask God to help you see her or him in a better light. Okay? And it does help to remember why you chose them in the first place. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times. If you need comfort, go to your wife. Don't go to your neighbor's wife or somebody else's wife. Go to your own wife. And be thou ravished always with her love. She is supposed to be true to you. And if you're true to her and she's true to you, enjoy each other and the love that comes with that. The physical part is what that's saying. But it's saying stay in your own, deal with the eggs in your own basket and not other people's baskets, okay? In verse 20, and why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a stranger? I mean, are you a man or a dog? A woman or a dog? Okay? Now, are you, and that's kind of an insult to dogs in some ways, because here's the thing. If you have need of physical release to the point till you go to some stranger, you got a serious problem. Okay? Because when you have sex with somebody, you join with them physically you're joining with them physically, and they imprint on you spiritually. It's really weird and scary because let's say that you have a physical relationship, and this would have to include intercourse. Okay, it when you join physically, you join spiritually. And let's say you've hated peanut butter all your life. It's and then you have a one night stand with somebody who loves peanut butter, but you've hated it all your life. You will find that they imprint on you spiritually, and all of a sudden you'll be finding yourself with cravings for peanut butter when you have hated it all your life. It's scary. I mean, really scary if you think about how someone's spirit imprints on you. And they were talking about this when AIDS came out about how everyone you're with, you're also with everybody they've ever been with, too. Everybody they've ever been with that's imprinted on them is all of those people are going to imprint on you, and you do not want that. Avoid it like the plague. Okay, let's keep going. In verse 21, for the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord. Now, Tyler says, how do I start a conversation about Jesus? Well, what you do is you let the Spirit lead, okay? You can sit there and pray to yourself. You don't have to close your eyes. You can just pray it in your head, talking to God, where nobody can perceive that from you. And you are talking to God in your head and in your heart, and you're saying, Lord, I am ready and willing for whatever opportunities you place before me. And he will give you an opportunity if you're ready and willing. Be ready in season and out of season to tell others about the hope that is within you. Okay? We have to be ready all the time to witness to people. But you have to have authority to be successful at it, which means they mention it to you. So what you have is a situation where you just make friends with people. Just be kind to people. Let's say you're sitting in a doctor's office and there's a few people waiting around also. And all of you get tired of, ignoring one another and start talking. Well, just be kind and friendly and join in the conversation. Okay? And if it comes to a point where you feel prompted to say something, then you can. But it's going to be pointless unless you have the authority. Now, what will happen is God will lead them to either tell you something about themselves or tell you or to whine about their situation or whatever and ask your advice. Sometimes people just want the advice of a stranger. God can lead them to do that. But you don't want to approach them first and say, do you know Jesus? Because it's got to be divine appointments. It's got to be by the Spirit. Okay? You just be a friend to them, and the conversation will come around to that at some point. Okay? He may end up leading them to ask you about it. So just don't push it. Just wait for that divine authority to show up. Okay, does that make sense? You can start a conversation with people about Jesus if you feel led to do so. Like I was standing in the line at PetSmart at the register, and the girl was checking me out, checking out my groceries or the stuff I bought there, dog food and things like that for the dogs, and she didn't say anything, but I just felt led to say, are you okay? She just looked kind of preoccupied, and you can express concern for people. And I told her, she said, well, I got a lot going on in my life. And I said, well, I understand that. And what I do is I trust in Jesus. That's what I do. And see, that's how you witness. You're talking about yourself. You don't come up to people and stick your finger in their face and go, you need Jesus, okay? The way you witness is you talk about how much you need Jesus. And you're testifying about your own needs, and they hear. Okay? You're welcome. Love you, Tyler. Okay, let's get into chapter 5 here. Well, we're into 5 down here at 21. 5:21. Oh, okay. Well, that's where we'll start next time then. We're going to wrap up this segment, and we'll be right back for our study in Genesis. Don't go away.